Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky. On today's episode, we're discussing Wine Witch on Fire, Rising from the Ashes of Divorce, Defamation, and Drinking Too Much, a wine memoir, national bestseller, and personal journey of Natalie MacLean. Natalie, I think this is truly important because I'm sure there are many women who struggle with this. How do you overcome both depression and drinking too much, especially with you since you're a wine professional, without going sober?
Yeah, well, easy access. I mean, I drink for a living. And it's in the industry, I think there's a lot of things we don't discuss. There's a lot of shame around over drinking. The wine industry has the highest rate of substance abuse of all professions. But that aside, in terms of dealing with it, first and foremost, lots of therapy. And a lot of those therapy sessions are in the book, and early readers are really finding that helpful. So this isn't a self-help book, but there are lots of tips on how I dealt with depression and from the divorce, the anxiety from the online mobbing, and then actually getting a handle on my over drinking. And it was when I relieved, or when I sort of dealt with those core issues, that the need for a drink subsided. But even then, Elizabeth, I had to come up with tips like, what was the thought just before the thought that said, I need a drink? And analyzing, why am I going for this right now? And then there's practical things like I open a full bottle, I'll pour half of it into a half empty bottle. It makes me more mindful of how much I'm drinking.
Yep.
And the wine's fresh for another day.
So you have a beautiful line in your book, and I want to quote you. I saw more clearly, almost face to face, that we all struggle and fail, and it's what we do with failure that counts. What did you learn, and what did you do with that failure?
As painful as that year was, I wouldn't want to turn back time or undo it. I also wouldn't wish that kind of trauma on anyone. But there is something that happens. Extreme failure made me sort of face up to who I was. It made me question who I was. The online mob was saying one thing, my family was saying another. And then inside I had to figure out, just who am I and who do I want to be going forward? In the winemaking world, Elizabeth, we have a term called dry extract, and it's what's left of the wine after all the moisture has been evaporated. So the taste, the core taste elements. And I think we are like that as humans. We have dry extract. And when life boils you down to your essence, you tap into your deepest reserves of strength and resilience that you really didn't know that you had. And you can surprise yourself. And I think it makes you a deeper, better, stronger person, but also someone who is far more empathetic to others. I'm far less judgy now because I know what it's like to fall flat on your face in public. And I'm glad I went through it.
So let's step back now. Let's talk about your comeback professionally, from the bullying, the mansplaining, the sexual photos. Like, they took your head and put it on a bikini bod, and the entire career-ending defamation. Let's just talk about that.
Well, yeah, there were a lot of things to grapple with. I had to sort of resolve some of the issues we just talked about through therapy, but other issues like defamation, I had to decide whether I was going to launch a lawsuit. In the end, I didn't. I just wanted it all to be over for my own mental health, because I learned too that there's a price to be paid, very much physically, even when all of these things were just happening online. There's a real health cost. They've done MRI scans of people who've been through a near fatal car accident and then read the script to them later with an MRI scan, and they are not remembering it, they're reliving it. And so the physical damage is real. And so I really had to protect my mental and physical health by, drawing these issues to a close and not keeping them, perpetuating them myself. But again, it took a lot of therapy, a lot of family support, and a lot of real talk with myself.
And the thing is, you went through this like 11 years ago. We didn't have all that social media back then. This was, something on the internet that a lot of people were on, and a lot of men were actually getting pleasure from your meltdown.
Yeah.
And they were all egging each other on, almost like high school students. And I mean,
Yep.
I'd like to think that as professionals, we are beyond that, that high school, hey, look at you, look at you. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to talk about marketing wines to women. So please don't go away.